Started here on the homepage. Again, this is Thad Reed with VectorVest. Very intriguing day here at VectorVest in the markets. We're going to get started on the homepage. As you can see in the upper left-hand corner, it says VectorVest 7-real time. We are, in fact, on the homepage. The Dow Jones, it's funny, it's a monster number, 748, but at this point that, when I was a kid, that was a huge number, right? But it's only 1.62%. The NASDAQ is up 347 or 1.58%, and the S&P is up 1.56. It is nice going into a Friday with an upward trending market. Currently here at VectorVest, we are tracking 9,835 stocks. There are 798 buys. There are 3,312 sells and 5,724 holds. That means the buy to sell ratio is 0.24. So the color guard today is neutral. VectorVest does not advocate buying stocks at this time. What VectorVest does advocate is to review the stocks in your watch list, sort those stocks by RT, and prepare your next campaign. Of course, we'll be looking for a primary wave up. We obviously don't have that here today. Let's take a review here really quickly, kind of see what we're looking at here. Here in the price column, we have a yellow. The price is 74.34. RT is 0.85, and the buy to sell ratio, again, 0.24. That makes the underlying trend of the market 0.66. We are in a down situation. For the more conservative investors here at VectorVest, we are in a confirmed down scenario. As my old friend Glenn Tompkins would say, look at the representation of tiles on the page. And Glenn would say that's a lot of red, and I agree, that is a lot of red. However, currently we are 3 ticks in the yellow. Last week we talked a lot about truth versus fiction. And this is the truth. We are currently in a downward trending market. We've been talking for weeks on end that the color of the program is in fact color coordinated. Red is a bad color. Yellow is a transitionary color. So again, we're going to listen to the color guard later on the community channel. For those in the community channel, please listen in and make sure you're reading the views on Friday. All right. So the Midas Touch stocks surprisingly are doing pretty well here. With only one loser, and frankly, it's really unchanged in my opinion. The top RT industries and sectors all look great. Okay. Any questions on the homepage? Let me take a quick look in the chat here. Happy Friday. Thank you. Sherilyn, thank you. Appreciate that. Brian, I'm glad you're here. Dennis, I'm glad you're here. Stu, I'm assuming you're in the room. Okay. John, I'm glad that you're here. Okay. Before we go into the next tab, hey Warren, how you doing? Thanks for being here. Just remember, it's a Friday. It's our job here to prepare, put together our best plan, and we're going to have to wait to see what happens on the market, not only over the weekend, with big dropping news stories, but what ultimately happens on Friday on the open. Okay. Peter, I'm glad you're here from Belgium. That's excellent. I'm glad you're here. Okay. All right. Okay, very good, everybody. Everybody's chatting in the room. I got YouTube going on here, so I got a lot of people chatting there, and I got a lot of people in the community room. This is great stuff. We're going to get started now. We're going to leave the homepage. We are going to go to the Viewers tab. The Viewers tab is a very important part of VectorVest. I have created a folder. The folder is called the Power Hour. These are the various watch lists that we've talked about every week since I, Thad Reed, have been doing the presentation. I preloaded some stocks in there, frankly, that I think are very interesting. They're well-known stocks. Everybody in the room who's a VectorVest client should be familiar with these names. We are going to add some more names to this list, of course. Okay. We'll talk about NVIDIA. It's the second one here. I'm going to point out the master indicator here is VST. Currently, the only indicator on Wall Street that I'm aware of that takes the best technicals and the best fundamentals and puts them on one clear ranking system. Right now, I am ranking by VST. The stocks with the best technicals and the best fundamentals appear at the top of the page. It's that easy. Okay. Now, I have been telling people, ultimately, when I have a watch list that I really like, I'm going to left click on RT. And we'll get to defining these in just a moment. This ultimately, as a coach, I'm looking to put the best players on the field, and the RT score, our technical indicator, brings the top to the top of the page. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to go back to VST, go back to the original order here. The first stock is Taiwan Semiconductors. The symbol on that is TSM. 0.25 basically unchanged. The price is 278.16. Dr. DeLito believed passionately that we need to know if a stock is overvalued or undervalued, and frankly, you should know what the value is on everything you buy. This stock is currently valued at $322.04, thereby making this a undervalued stock. RV is upside potential, and I'm going to really just kind of leave it right there. Just very simple for today. RS, consistency is the big word here. Consistency and predictability of financial performance. That is a very important indicator. If you're a prudent investor, RV and RS should be above 1. The beauty of the VectorVest program is it is a complicated mathematical equation. Basically, Dr. DeLito and the genius of Dr. DeLito was taking that complicated math and making it simple on a scale of 0 to 2. Anything above 1 is favorable. Now, I am going to take the moment of right-clicking on the top stock, and I'm going to get this beautiful menu. There's a lot we could do here at VectorVest on a right-click. For right now, I'm going to left-click on View Full Stock Analysis. If you're new to VectorVest, I highly encourage you to print one of these out. On the left, you're going to see the performance of the graph for 3 months. You're going to see how that stock compares to the industry. And I got to tell you, this is doing a little bit better than the industry. Would everybody agree with that in the room? If so, type in VV Nation. Okay. This stock is doing better than the industry, but frankly, this stock is going sideways. And we'll get into more specifics on the graphs momentarily. Again, this report is color coordinated. I usually rifle through this very quickly looking for red. If I see red, that's the first thing I read. Now, there's no cautionary tale here, okay? So that's a good thing. A couple of things I want to point out here. All of the terms and definitions at VectorVest are found on one of these reports. Frankly, you should be familiar with all of the information available on one of these reports. It would not be the worst idea if you printed out one of these reports on every stock you're interested in or every stock that you currently own, and frankly, know why you bought the stock. Okay? This is the truth. But ultimately, the test is, what's the stock graph doing? And we'll get to that momentarily. So one thing I want to point out, VectorVest does a lot of stuff with forecasting. This really separates VectorVest from all the other clients on Wall Street. Why does that matter? Dr. DeLito believed passionately that trailing information is only part of a story. The totality of the story is also future forecasting. For example, GRT. GRT reflects a company's 1 to 3 year forecasted earnings growth rate in percent per year. Again, here's the color, 25%. VectorVest considers that to be excellent. Okay. Thank you guys for typing in VV Nation. I really appreciate that. Okay. All right. Very good. So again, all the terms, definitions are here. Again, color coordinated. And it is interesting to always look at the graph of the industry as well. And this really, I might point one other thing out that I'm hearing a lot of when I talk to clients on the phone. There's a lot of conversation about contra ETFs and ETFs. You should really know what you're buying when it comes to various types of ETFs. And you really should know what that description is. Are you buying a leveraged, triple leveraged ETF? We're going to tell you right here. Okay. I didn't say don't buy those, but you should know what you're buying. Okay, so there we go. So right down the list here, RV is excellent, RS is excellent, RT is above 1, thereby VST is at 1.38. We know this is upward trending, okay? RV and RS are our fundamental indicators. RT is our technical indicator. We wrap that together. We get the VST score of 1.38 on a scale of 0 to 2. That's a great number. CI is very helpful, especially for people uncomfortable with volatility. CI is the comfort index. Comfort index is, anybody? Comfort index is a stock's ability to resist severe and or lengthy price declines. So 1.35 is a great number. We assign a buy, hold, sell recommendation on every stock in the database every day. And notice there's not a buy stock in this watch list yet. Maybe someone will give us a good buy recommendation stock. The stop line is based upon a 13-week moving average of closing prices. We do factor in company fundamentals. The bottom line, if the price right here is below the stop line, VectorVest will automatically rate the stock a sell. And GRT is that forecasted earnings growth rate over 1 to 3 years expressed as a percent. And there's that number right there. Okay. Those are forecasting numbers there. Okay. So NVIDIA, always a lot of talk on NVIDIA, and really some big news, obviously, on NVIDIA this week. The word this week that perplexed me was catalyst. And I think I could say that NVIDIA's earnings were not a catalyst for the market to go higher. Anybody disagree or agree? Put it in the chat, please. Okay. But what we do know is their earnings were great, and on some level validated the expenditure for AI, if that's possible. Currently has a price of $182.60. This stock is obviously undervalued. In terms of upside potential, if I'm putting great players on my team, this number is 1.62. That's excellent upside potential. RS is consistency, predictability of financial performance. That's 1.46. Again, a great number. Now, here's a little bit of a problem. Where's RT? Below 1. Therefore, it is downward trending. VectorVest currently has that stock rated as a hold. The stop line is 173.65. We are quite a ways away from that in terms of the price, and the GRT is, in fact, 32. Okay. Broadcom, stock symbol AVGO. Percent PRC is what the stock is up relative to the previous 4 o'clock close. Okay. For day or swing traders, really, frankly, this is an important number because it tells you if the stock is going higher in price or not. So this is really, to me, unchanged at 0.21. The price is 346. The value is 230. This stock is overvalued, right? It's overvalued, which speaks to risk. Upside potential is 1.44. So certainly I like that number. At VectorVest, that's a great number. 1.43, VectorVest considers that to be a great number as well. And RT is, in fact, above 1 at 1.12. The VST score is 1.32. That's a great number. And a very high CI number at 1.66. We talked about this periodically throughout my time with you on the Power Hour. You should become so familiar with these indicators when invariably you're looking at a graph. You should have an expectation of what the graph already looks like. Okay, is it volatile? Is it consistently upward trending? That should start to become evident to you by understanding these very important indicators. Okay, EME, really kind of unchanged today, almost down 1%. Price 577. The value is 796.36. Okay, undervalued. RV is 1.53. That's a great number. So again, upside potential. I'm the coach looking to put players on the team. These are all excellent RV numbers. Every coach wants upside potential on their players. Okay. RS, another great monster number at 1.47. RT, however, is 0.66. As good as everything is, it just goes to show you a stock can still be downward trending. Okay. That's why we put them in a watch list. Now, if you see a sell, what do we know based upon what we've seen? Everything's good here. CI 1.15, VSD 1.25. It's ready to sell. The first thing you should say is price is below the stop line. Price is below the stop line. Okay? Therefore, it's ready to sell. Meta, very popular stock, down 1.29%. The price is $596. The value is $766. Another undervalued stock. Great upside potential, great consistency and predictability of financial performance. Weak RT. Okay, weak RT. VST 1.19, CI 0.95. How many people in the room are surprised that Meta has a CI below 1? Right? On some level, that speaks to volatility. It is currently rated to sell in the VectorVest system, and the stop on that is 621. So we know that what price is below that number, right? All right. Here's a mining company. Mining stocks obviously has been very popular. Percent PRC is 0.72. So it's up a little bit on the day. The price here is $13.96. So we're getting into a little bit lower price category. The value here is $29.99. The RV is 1.72. Frankly, that's a monster number. Absolutely monster number. Okay. RS 1.03. RT, wow, 0.49. Okay. Bill, I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming. I appreciate your support. So it's currently got a VST score of 1.13. Notice that none of these have a VST score below 1. Okay. And CI is a monster number here, 1.55, and the stock is rated a sell. Okay. So there's a lot going on here. I'm going to look in the room really quickly, see if anyone has any additional stocks they want me to look at here. All right. Well, ORC, thank you. Appreciate that. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Oh, Patrick. SOXS. That's an interesting story right there. Boyle. Excellent. Anybody have any stocks in YouTube you want me to look at here real quick? Thank you, Bruce. All right, so I'm going to pause while you guys are continuing to type in some stocks here and point something out to you. Not everybody knows, for example, what the stock symbol is for a stock they're interested in. As long as you know the name, VectorVest is going to help you find the name of the stock, and then we'll find that for you. Okay, so don't worry if you don't know the stock symbols. Just type in the name to the best of your ability. All right, so we'll add CLS here. A couple people really like CLS. Excuse me. Unfortunately, I have a sore throat today. I've been doing apparently too much talking this week, so I appreciate you bearing with me. All right. Excuse me. JPM, good choice. Now, you know, folks, they call it the power hour, so I'm going to try to power through as many of these as we can. Okay. The goal is to create an excellent watch list of stocks. There's a couple different ways of doing this. Here, I'm going to go to graph right now. Thank you, Patrick. Honeywood Tea, that ship has sailed for me. And to add insult to injury, the coffee machine is broken. And if you know me, I love my coffee, folks. Love my coffee. All right. So we could go up here and hit graph all. We could go down here and highlight the last stock. And we can hit Control A. Actually, I'm going to type in a few more stocks here from the YouTube crowd, if you will. Awesome. Thanks, guys in the YouTube. I appreciate that. All right. Not necessarily always the best typer, so if I miss something, you know, let me know. Okay. Let me see if this one will run through here. All right. So I'm going to go down to the last stock here. I'm going to hit Control A on my keyboard. Again, there's more than one way of doing this, okay? I'm going to right-click, and we're going to go down here. Right-click at a very important functionality. You can go to Trade Now, Manage Brokerage. That's a great tool if you have it. Okay, you can use RoboTrader, upcoming dividend dates. I have Options Pro. A lot of people don't have Options Pro. That's the VectorVest options trading platform. We could quick test stuff. I did have some feedback that I want to pass along to you. For good or ill, we've been in business for well over 30 years. You could go in and quick test data at VectorVest, like the top rated VST stocks at any given time period, to prove and validate to yourself the importance of these indicators. Okay, there's a quick folio, add to portfolio, okay, so on and so forth. But for right now, we're going to go to view a stock graph. Now, on this exercise here today, we are going to use the VectorVest simple graph. In the upper right hand corner, there's a down arrow. These are the various graphs that you could use at VectorVest. These are customizable. You can save and modify layouts. You could add parameters, capital appreciation, price volume. Not going to lie to you, I love volume on a graph, and I love MACD in the technical analysis field. Okay, so and you could obviously come down here and customize fields as well. Okay, but we're not going to get into any of that today. We're going to basically interpret these graphs. We're going to look at the buy, hold, sell recommendation bar. We're going to look at price, the stop line, and RT. Okay, and earnings per share. So let me slide this down. I'm going to minimize that. Okay, so there's the indicators we're going to study here today. It is Friday, November 21st. Is this the Pro software? In the upper left-hand corner of the program, you can see I'm using VectorVest 7-real-time. There are other data feeds you could have, but for today's presentation, I'm using the real-time data feed. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by the Pro software, but I am in fact using VectorVest 7. We have the VectorVest Stock Advisory and some other programs as well. Okay, we'll look at MU as well. One of the points of emphasis that I took away with my conversations with Dr. DeLito was to make things very simple, which I think he did. And there's nothing more simple than the buy, hold, sell recommendation bar. Here at VectorVest, we're one of the only companies on Wall Street that factors in price action for a stock to be rated a buy. There are 4 specific criteria, but the one that matters to me, the stock price has to be rising. When I coach people on how to make money here at VectorVest, what's the number one reason you buy a stock? Put it in the room, everybody. And the answer should be very simple. And the answer is because the stock is going higher in price. Here at VectorVest, we want to buy upward trending stocks in upward trending markets. Okay? We've been talking a lot about Dr. DeLito's legacy here, right? And right out of the gate, I unfortunately am very much familiar with this particular investment. What this invariably tells me is you don't want to purchase SOXS, which is shorting semiconductor stocks, triple leverage, by the way. Okay, so this stock has been in a continuous sell rating, and during that period of time, the stock price is going lower. That should not surprise anybody in the room at this point. Okay, the predominant color here is red. Here we have the stock is downward trending, and here it is right here. Price goes below the stop line, it gets tagged to sell, and really, frankly, never looks back. So, the stop line right here that we're currently talking about is the final line in the sand, okay? And on this particular day, the stop line was 24.42. The final line in the sand. We need to know as investors when we're going to sell a stock. And frankly, you should know that before you even go long. Okay? Now, shorting semiconductor stocks is obviously not proven to be a successful investment. Okay? The counterpart to this is SOXL. Maybe I should add that to the list, and maybe I will. We'll see if we have time. Okay? In fact, it's going to be the complete opposite of what you see here. Okay, that's exactly what you're going to see. Now, RT The most powerful tool I have ever seen. Very simple. It goes up and down. Above one is upward trending. Below one is downward trending. Okay, there it pops right there. Above one, upward trending right there. The stock goes from a sell, hold to a buy, in this case ETF, and there's your run. Okay, comes down a touch, RT, settles back down, pops a little bit. That makes me a little nervous right there. Okay, the stock starts to run, and RT regains with magnitude an upward trend, and there it kind of taps itself out. Okay, so, and by the way, for the record, it taps itself out at 2. It didn't stay at 2 for very long, and it drops like a complete rock. And I mean very quickly. So this is a good example of what we teach at VectorVest. And successful investing, you know, with Todd Schaefer and Brian D'Amico, or the Jockey Club, or the Swing Trading Room, or if you're talking to Thad Reed on the phone. You have to know when to sell. You cannot allow yourself to be in this emotional problem right here. And trust me, you're going to be emotional on that day. Anyone disagree? Say so in the room. Okay. So that is essentially a tough looking stock. And here's a great textbook example. Since RT is always below 1, this is by definition downward trending. Since this is an ETF, there are no earnings per share. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now, for people new in the room, over here on the right, there's a slider bar. Okay. Because this is an ETF, we're only really going to focus on RT. And you're going to see what I mean when I go to the next stock. All right. Now, another ETF. This is a different situation. I love the constant red color over here. The stock is clearly downward trending, or ETF, downward trending. And then we reach this point here. This is the low point of RT. And RT starts to rise on us, comes back down, starts to rise, comes back down. But is it me, or is it making higher highs and lower lows here? And then crosses above 1. Okay. And then the stock right there becomes a buy. Okay. It doesn't really last for very long. You get a hold right there. But again, RT pushing above 1. It finds its footing right in here. And really, the point of emphasis, RT above 1. The stock goes from 60 to 140. The constant color on the buy hold recommendation bar is a buy. Okay, so that's the important thing. We're looking for stocks that are a buy rating. And with RT above 1 and the other indicators like value. Now, again, this is an ETF, so we're not seeing any of the vital VectorVest numbers here. Okay, here we go, finally. Excellent. So here's a gold and mining stock. Everybody knows there's a lot of money, obviously, in this particular space right now. This stock is currently rated to buy. The stock is currently rising nicely. It's a big move here. The triangle here is the 12. This is a 1-year chart, as you can see in the lower right-hand corner. Right here is the low point. It was at 472. It rises up here to 16, is settling in. Now, there is some volatility in here. And you know what? It's very interesting. As the stop line is rising, the stock price is rising as well, obviously, but it comes down a little bit like a yo-yo. Pulls away, comes back down like a yo-yo, pulls away again. Okay, so invariably, when you're looking for your setup and you're looking for RT to be churning higher, you know, this is the type of stock you'd want to have in your watch list. Now, the value of this is tremendous. It's $21.88. This is a significantly undervalued stock. The stop line is 1225. You know, it's not that far away really, but it is really far away because remember, this is a lower price stock. RT is a very healthy 1.41 earnings per share. Here at VectorVest, we are firm advocates of buying stocks with rising earnings per share. It is literally the engine that drives stock prices higher. We have a beautiful, smooth, consistent upward trending earnings curve here. Okay. And earnings is positive at 0.69. RS is 1.25, so it does have consistency and predictability of financial performance. Okay. And then finally, GRT, forecasted earnings is excellent at 37. Okay. So let's review really quickly. We met the criteria, the buy, hold, sell recommendation bar. We met the criteria of upward trending stock. Stop line is rising. And of course, RT goes from below 1 to above 1 and doesn't look back. We're looking at earnings per share continuing to rise higher from left to right. Okay. Add this to a watch list. I'm glad that's in your watch list, Maria. That's a great story. Okay. All right. Now, this is a very interesting. Now, we're talking a lot about semiconductor stocks here today. This is an interesting run. You double your money here. RT reaches this low point, rises above 1. You're in here around 150, 160, 170. It runs to above 300. The stock goes from this period of time. Most stocks were ready to sell in this period of time, by the way. And then you see the setup. This is a setup, folks. Sell, hold, buy. RT rising above 1. Price is rising. Okay. Now, the semantics of it is some people will feel like they're getting in too early. Okay, that's okay. If you're saying that to yourself, the automatic answer is when you're going to sell. When are you going to sell? Okay. That alleviates that emotional reality. Identify your sell point right away. And if you need help with that, we have a lot of videos here at VectorVest and a lot of coaching that can help guide you or call product support. Okay. So, the value of this is very intriguing at 322. This stock is what? Significantly undervalued. The stop line is 263. The RT is above 1 at 1.18. And the earnings per share, I just think that's a monster number. 11.85. Beautiful, upward trending, rising earnings. An RS of 1.47. Again, it has the consistency we're looking for. All right. And GRT's at 25. Okay. This is a great stock to add to your watch list. Okay. Everything is rising. Wow. This is a beautiful buy, hold, sell recommendation bar. Look at the elongated buy period. I'm actually not disappointed to see that this stock is rated a hold. One thing you should be seeing on the buy, hold, sell recommendation bar. If the stock is rated a sell, what's happening? Downward trending stock price. If it's rated a hold, it really means the price is going sideways. A buy, again, to reiterate what we said earlier, a buy has to be upward trending in price. Okay, and that's clearly evident here. And here comes the hold. And there it is. Beautiful candlestick here. Ooh, man, that's awfully close to the stop line. Okay, and if you look at RT, it's testing in here. Okay, now remember, folks, we have these in a watch list for a reason. We're watching the story, and it doesn't necessarily mean this is the best player right now, but this is certainly something we could consider adding to a solid foundation for a portfolio at a later time. The value on this is 246, so that's a cautionary tale here. It is overvalued. The stop line is 263.45. Look at that wick right there. We are close right there. Very interesting. But RT is still above 1. Earnings is 7.85, and really, to me, dynamically upward trending earnings. And remember, we can't reiterate this enough. Stock price invariably is following earnings per share. Okay, and earnings per share is 7.85. Over the course of 1 year, they're at the highest point. And RS, the consistency of that is 1.42, and GRT is 31. I might kind of point this out for those who didn't notice this, by the way. There's a lot of people who say they can't make money in the market. If you're very aggressive, you got in here at 100. Okay. Maybe 160. Okay. Maybe you bought it at this high price point right here and you picked it up at 200. Okay. Okay. That wasn't the best trade. All right. That's fun. But where are we now? 350. Okay, folks. That's the power of buying high RV, high RS, quality investments. Okay. And that is right here. Stop lines rising beautifully. There are little periods where it pulls away, gas back down, pulls away, pulls away, gas back down, pulls away, gas back down. Okay. So this could be a really interesting pickup here. Okay. So this is an interesting one. The value, again, 246. Everything's great here. How many people have followed this particular story? If you follow this stock, put VV Nation in the chat for me, please. Okay. Here's Fix. I absolutely love this space. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Bruce, Peter, Lawrence. Thank you, guys. John, Kira. Thank you. All right. So here's the thing. The reason why I like this stock, I happen to live in Charlotte, North Carolina. By the way, absolutely spectacular weather here. Great weather. In fact, the funny thing is we haven't needed the air conditioning or the heating system on yet, which is winning, right? Saving a little bit of money. But we are literally building a house on every street corner. So by basic definition, I'm interested in any stock that's selling something that goes into a home. Okay. And here's Fix. Look at that elongated buy period. That just speaks to consistently going higher in price. Okay. I like the low triangle right here. Stock pushes above the stop line right there at 435. Boy, that's an expensive stock, right? However, you double your money, it goes over 1,000. Really not a lot of concerning volatility to the downside. And here's why. RT is constantly above 1. A little bit of a test right there, but then it gaps right back up. So this will be really interesting. A little bit of a test right here. Let's see if it gaps back up. But you got to say, over the course of a year, really just monstrous earnings per share growth. Very good. It would be hard not to have this on a VectorVest watch list. The value is 882. So to me, I'm going to call that fairly valued. The stop line is 811. We're frankly not even really close to that. RT is above 1 at 1.11, although it is a lower RV score for this particular stock, which frankly kind of excites me. Okay. Earnings per share is 28.83. It's got a great RS at 1.46, and GRT is a great number at 28. Okay. I think this is a great stock. Do you think Fix will split? We'll know when they announce it, when the board, announces it. I would think that if you wanted to attract the smaller investor into your stock price, that would be a good idea. But, that's, when I'm looking at creating a watch list of stocks I would like to own, that frankly, that's a question I never asked myself. And historically, the reason why is I've owned very few stocks that have actually split minus Apple. And I do own Apple stock. All right. So, but yeah, if it splits, great. If it's a 10-for-1 split, obviously you could buy more shares, and that's really the important thing there. Okay. So everything was good here. Definitely add this to a watch list here. This is NVIDIA, and just a monster number. Guys, listen, here's the thing. I've been kind of preaching truth versus fiction, right? And because the emotionality of the business that we're in, these are why the VectorVest indicators matter. I see some people frustrated in the room. Why are you buying the stock? Number one, because it's going higher in price. Number two, frankly, RV is above 1. RS is above 1. It's got a great CI number. These are the recipes with growing earnings per share where people make money. Okay. But markets go up and down. When you have extreme volatility to the downside, like we've had this last week, this is the important step that we're doing here today. And that is create a watch list and wait for the market to come to you. These are the most important times to invest. And the most money is made on big sell-offs. Okay. Now we could argue, is this a big sell-off? I do know it's a low buy to sell ratio, and I follow that very closely. For the people in the room that know me, they know I'm a big buy to sell ratio person. Okay. So NVIDIA is always a big news story here. It's hard to ignore this. Incidentally, this is another semiconductor stock. There's a lot of different ways of playing this particular stock. Obviously, you've made a lot of money. This stock at 215. The stock price is 173.80. The RT is below 1. Okay, and that's an interesting story in and of itself. So if we're sorting the watch list by RT, this is going to come as the second tier stock in our watch list. Hopefully, you have some stocks with an RT above 1. Okay, RS a big number at 1.46. Great GRT and very promising rising higher earnings per share. Very, very good. Now, look, here's an interesting story about RT. Again, the single most powerful indicator I've seen on Wall Street in 30 years is RT. Okay. RT is at 1.85. But folks, tell me if I'm wrong. What's happening to RT during this period of time? What's happening? It's going lower. Okay. Yeah, it was rated a buy signal at that moment in time. But what's RT telling you? RT is telling you that the stock is losing momentum. Okay. It's coming close to 1. And again, if it goes below 1, it's going to be downward trending. Okay. All right. That's an important thing to remember. And then there it's testing 1, it goes up. It's testing 1, it goes up. But notice these are lower. Okay. If we were to draw on this graph, these are going lower. And really, what's the stock doing right now? It to me looks very sideways. It looks very sideways to me. If I were to put a line right here, for example. Okay. So it's currently ready to hold. There's your stop line. RT is right in there. Now, RT doesn't normally go below 1 on this particular stock often. Okay. The backdrop of earnings per share is absolutely great. VectorVest values this stock at $215. The stop line is 173. The RT is 0.98, so we know it's downward trending, and it certainly is. There's the high triangle to that low point right there. Okay. Great earnings, great RS, and an excellent GRT. I would have to have this stock in my watch list. Okay. Now, I love a new buy rated stock when it goes from a hold to a buy with RT crossing above 1. Okay. This stock has not been a sell in 1 year. Look at the buy, hold, sell recommendation bar. But to me, it is volatile. It's a buy, hold, and it's just all over the place. I'm going to call the predominant color here actually hold. Anyone disagree? You're more than welcome to. Okay. To me, that's a sideways moving stock. The property and casualty space, I like the space. I just don't know if this is best of breed in that category. I would look for other opportunities within the space. It's just too sideways, too volatile. But let's get into the nuts of the story. It's valued at 268. It's significantly undervalued. The stop line is 171. The RT is in fact above 1. RT does kind of look like a yo-yo here. Okay. Earnings per share is 1647. Folks, that's a monster number. It's got great RS and a great a great GRT. Okay. So, if you think this is a good stock, I just don't see where the upside potential is there for my investment style. Okay. Now, with that said, what is your investment goal? Okay. That's a good question. What's your investment goal? And I'm going to be honest with you. I'll tell you mine. You ready? What's your goal? My goal is very simple, double my money. Now, the question is the time frame. Okay. So when I'm analyzing these stocks, the first thing I ask myself is, do I see myself in a reasonable period of time doubling my money? And that is a hard question on this particular stock to answer. Okay. I think if you were to double your money, it would be over a lengthy period of time. Okay. Thank you, Cheryl Lynn. Cheryl Lynn said, if you like the presentation, give me a thumbs up in the YouTube room. I appreciate that. Cheryl Lynn and I go way back. Hope you're having fun, Cheryl Lynn. I will probably talk later though. So here's an example of one. I think I actually would take a pass on this. And look, it's a new buy, right? So in theory, I should love this stock. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one here. It's hard not to like the story of Broadcom. Here's the setup: sell, hold, buy, fantastic. I'm looking down here. We've got the price rising. We got the stop line rising. RT going above 1. I don't really love the earnings story until right about here, and then it becomes dynamic. Okay. The value on this particular stock is $230. So we're looking at an overvalued stock here. And remember, when you're looking at a stock, is it overvalued or undervalued? It does speak to risk. Speaks to risk. Okay. The stop line is 324. RT is above 1, but not very high above 1 at 1.09. If you look at it right there, that's a historically low RT. Also take a note, what's happening here with RT. Really, RT is telling me the story here. This is the stock just not looking to go higher. Yeah, it's still above 1, but it's losing a lot of its oomph, if you will. Okay. But this is a stock I would certainly add to a watch list for sure. We're kind of at that support price right in here. Okay. You double your money in this stock if you owned it during this period of time. And again, you know, if you have the intestinal fortitude to hop in here, okay, you had a great trade. All right. I have tried to love this space. I have really, when I lived in Boston, I worked at the World Trade Center. I would see the LG ships coming in filled with natural gas. These things are huge and beautiful. And I've always loved this space of natural gas. I just can't fall in love with this story here on this particular investment. Okay. You know, 42 to 100, obviously that's a great move over here. That's a power move. And then you got into this space over here where really the predominant color is the sell. Is by definition downward trending. You see prices below the blue line here. I'm going to do something. I'm a very visual person, and just to clarify something for some folks in the room, this helps me, and I hope it helps you. I'm going to right click on the stop line, and there's a menu here. Okay. And we could add a moving average, and there's all kinds of cool things we could do on a right click. By the way, right clicking, in fact, is very powerful. I'm going to make this an area chart. Okay. I think the area chart says all you need to know. If the price is in the blue area, it is downward trending and you're losing money. That should be very clear to everybody. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate the feedback, right? So if this helps you visually, okay, make it an area chart. I love it because when things pull away, it's easier to see the pull away. And by the way, when it pulls away dramatically, that makes me a little bit concerned, and it bounces back down like a rubber band. But what's happening here? Downward trending. Okay. You know, good point there with the trailing stop, you know, Sherilyn. Excellent. So, you know, if that helps you, you know, right click, there's the line, whatever. Okay. But one thing is certain to me, when you do this, you do not buy a stock when the price is in the shaded area. That should be very clear. There should be no vacillation in the room. Okay. And by the way, if the blue line is downward trending, okay, what is that telling you? Caution. What are your trailing stops? What's your action plan? Folks, what's your action plan? You should know that going into this campaign before you buy this particular investment. And for the record, 105 down here to 24 that's a painful lesson if you didn't have the stop criteria. A hope and a prayer is not a trading plan. Okay. All right. So this is a good candidate to review. There could be a bounce maybe in natural gas as things got a little bit colder around the Americas, if you will. Natural gas is used for a lot of homes in America. Okay. So that's the story here. This is Boyle. Now, because it's an ETF, none of the VectorVest indicators are here. In this situation, you're simply going to fixate on what the story of RT is once again. All right. We've had a lot of ETFs today, which is great. I love ETFs. Okay. Now, I love looking at stocks. Does everybody want me to keep this shaded blue area around there? Does that help you visually here with the lesson? If it doesn't, okay, thank you, Sharon. I appreciate that. Okay, if you like, okay, thank you, Lee. All right, so I am all about customizing the VectorVest software to visually have a better, because if you look at a lot of stocks, you know, to me, the color stands out. It's upward trending. You buy the stock, it's downward trending. Then let's take a look at the graph a little bit more closely. Thanks, Sherilyn. Okay. All right. So, sell recommendation, hold to a buy. I got what I'm looking for right there in the buy, hold, sell recommendation bar. I'm going to point out to you, it's not really part of today's lessons plan. And folks, I have a lesson plan here, by the way. But we have a part of our program called Unisearch. There was a question last week I'm going to answer. We actually do try look at various searches in Unisearch. Okay. There is a search that finds RT crossing above 1 in stocks that are actually rated a new buy rating. You could filter those by RS. Again, the power of VectorVest. We're not going to go into that today. But yes, we do track the characteristics of the stocks we're analyzing here today in the VectorVest trend searches in Unisearch. Okay. All right. So let's review. This is an expensive stock here. I right here is what I want to see. Okay, the stock goes from sell, hold to a buy. It's pulling away from the stop line. Excellent. You're looking at about 472. The stock goes up here to 800. Folks, mathematically, that's a large percentage rate of return. Okay. I would think as your coach, as your mentor, as someone who desperately wants you to be successful, if you're up 100% on a stock, that at some point you ask yourself the following question: do I need to protect myself to the downside? I don't think that's an unreasonable question. And the reason why I say that is it goes from a buy to a hold. Now, that may not have been enough catalyst for you. Okay. Or, well, how about that drop right there? And you may argue, well, it's that support right there. Okay. But then it's right here. And now it's officially rated a sell. Okay. Stick to your plan, but know what your plan is. I want you to also note that RT has gone from 1.76 and really is making lower lows and higher lows. We're at 0.67, a building and maintenance company. The value on this is 796, so fortunately it is undervalued. The stop line is 592.71. The price is currently below that, therefore it's rated a sell. The earnings, wow, what a monster number at 27.23. That is a monster number. The RS is 1.47. And the GRT is 21. Okay. Now, this is a maintenance company, essentially. This is not a quiz, but if you're not familiar with this stock, where do we go? Thanks, Peter. I've enjoyed, I'm glad that you could make it this week. I look forward to your future participation. Have a great weekend, okay? So, I'm looking at this stock, and I'm thinking to myself, should I add this to my watch list? Sure. Yeah, I'll add it to my watch list. Okay. But what's my discerning criteria? Do I see myself potentially doubling my money? Not right now, but with those earnings per share growing the way they are, man, that's an interesting story to follow. Okay. All right. I agree. Good investment principles are very important. That's why I'm really emphasizing RV and RS, which are proven mathematical equations. Okay. Last week's presentation, I know the people in the Jockey Club may not have heard it. I discussed something called truth versus fiction. And for 35 years, VectorVest has developed and created mathematical equations. We use those mathematical equations to find the best candidates for our investment style. Any stock that has an RV above 1, an RS above 1, a CI above 1. Okay. These are what? What are these? Prudent investments. Okay. A speculative stock, on the other reality, you certainly could make money. It's going to be more challenging. Okay. But you're not going to have consistency and predictability of financial performance. Okay. You may not even have upside potential because both of those indicators will be below 1. Okay. Now, for those speculators, graphing and MACD and trade setups, that's all going to be really important. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the next one here real quick. Well, this is just kind of a rough story right in here with Meta. Right out of the gate, the earnings per share really jumps out at me. The buy hold recommendation bar is a pretty hard sell in here. If I were to keep this in my watch list, and I certainly would, it is because that I see upside potential for the business model in the future. Okay, and I do, of course. Okay, but make no mistake about it. This stock is very volatile to me, and you would have to have a pretty strong understanding of your discipline about trading. Okay, and right here it's at 595. You have pretty much lost a half a year's worth of gains at this point. Okay. All right. So there you go. Currently rated to sell. I actually might weed this one out of the portfolio. Okay. Value is 766. It is significantly undervalued. RT is a solid 0.65. It's downward trending, as we can see. The earnings absolutely monstrous at 28.84. RS is 1.4 and the GRT is 18. Okay. To me, the predominant color on this, and I'm going to start speeding up a little bit here to make it through the list here real quick, based upon the fact that I only have like 3 minutes. Okay. To me, this is a sideways moving stock. I don't see myself doubling my money here in a reasonable period of time. There may be a compelling reason to own this stock. Capital appreciation seems very elusive to me on this particular stock. Earnings per share rising for sure, but it's only $1. GRT is great at 33. RS is under 1. Earnings per share is 1.08. RT below 1, downward trending. The stop is 695, and the value on this is 1153. Usually a lot of people are buying REITs for a dividend yield purpose, not for capital appreciation. Okay. This goes to show you the power of why one has to have some form of a stop. This has gone from over 20 to down to 14. The stock is currently ready to sell. From left to right, it was a beautiful graph. An RT at 0.50. Very difficult, compelling story. Earnings per share dramatically rising higher in price. Okay. Beautiful earnings per share and a great GRT. But I'm going to be honest, a lot of these stocks have great GRTs in this particular space, gold and silver. I love this stock. I would absolutely add this another ETF. It does seem to be channeling sideways here. This is a great space. Unfortunately, it speaks to where we're at as a world. This is an aerospace and defense ETF. So the only indicator we're studying here is RT. Clearly, RT is going lower and currently below 1. Therefore, it is currently downward trending. I would certainly absolutely have this in a watch list. All right, here's our last stock. It's a low price stock. If my goal is to double my money, I'm going to have a very challenging time looking at the GRT and earnings per share. RT is like really a yo-yo here. You know, for those speculators in the room, you might be able to make some money here. You're going to have to make sure that your criteria to buy and sell the stock are absolutely tight. I would not buy this stock based upon the lessons I've learned from Dr. DeLito. And why is that, everybody? We buy upward trending stocks in upward trending market conditions with rising earnings per share. This stock, to me, doesn't meet a single Dr. DeLito criteria. Okay? Now, that's our last stock. I'm going to minimize the graph. I'm going to left click here. I'm going to sort by RT. Sorting by RT brings the stocks with the best candidates at the top of the page. These are, in fact, the ones upward trending. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 stocks we've analyzed today are with an RT above 1. Okay, now for the weaker candidate stocks, you left click on those. We call this weeding the garden. Right click, hit delete. I'm going to read the views. I'm going to get rid of all these because I absolutely, just so you know, I get rid of all of them every week. Okay, they're all gone for a fresh list. But folks, get your watch list together. Let's see what happens on Monday. It's been a long week. Let's go to the homepage really quickly. 3 ticks in the yellow. VectorVest does not advocate buying any stocks at this time. However, please make sure you get your watch list together. Look at them on a graph. Look at RV. Look at RS. Put your best candidates on a watch list. Sort the watch list by RT. If you don't know where to find the stocks, right here on the homepage, there's your Midas touch. You could right click on any one of these and go view stock in an industry group. Okay, these are the top RT. This is new content right here. Okay, if I right click, I could find out all the healthcare stocks in the nursing home industry is making money. I could right click on utilities, view stocks in that sector that are making money. Okay, there's a lot of different ways of finding great stocks at VectorVest. It's been my pleasure helping you here today. Again, my name is Thad Reed. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Happy Friday to you. It's been my pleasure helping you all here today. If you have any questions, please call product support. The phone number is 888-658-7638. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for your time.